Hey, I'm Srini, the creator of Maximize Your Output with Mem. We're finally here at the end of the year, and in this video tutorial, what I'm going to show you how to do is use the insightful questions from something called the Year Compass, which you can download at yearcompass.com, and build an interactive annual review process that allows you to leverage the power of MemChat to look back at the past year, reflect on your lessons learned, celebrate your wins, and plan for the year ahead. Now, let's get to the tutorial.
So the reason I wanted to do this video is because it's that time of year when people are thinking about the past year. You might be thinking about setting goals for next year. And last year I did a similar video about how to conduct an annual review in Mem. And at that point, MemChat and Smart Write and Edit and some of these features weren't available yet. So I wanted to talk about how we can take this process and actually turn it into a interactive experience in which MemChat guides you through this annual review, and it actually helps you reflect a bit more deeply on all the things that are going on. So this is based on something called the Year Compass. And if you go to yearcompass.com, you can see here they have this free booklet that you can download. It's just a PDF. This is something that I go through and I do every year. And I found it really valuable because of the fact that it actually forces you to really reflect deeply. It offers a ton of different questions, and it really is a comprehensive way to look back at the past year as well as plan for the next one. It helps you go through all of your events and all the sort of significant things that have happened, and really gives you a sort of bird's eye view of everything that has happened over the past year that is significant. Because a lot of times we have all these experiences in our lives, and 365 days is a lot, and we often forget about some of the significant and important things that have happened. So the first step is to actually download the digital version of this annual review template. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to copy all of the questions into Mem. And so basically what I did was I took the PDF of the Year Compass and I brought in all of the different questions that are inside of the Year Compass to Mem and created an individual Mem for doing this. And this was how it worked last year when it was static and it was just one of those things you filled out, which still was really useful. But I thought what would be really interesting this year was to see if we could make this process interactive so that MemChat guides you through the process and asks you a lot more questions and forces you to reflect more deeply on everything that has happened over the past year. So what you're going to do is you're going to create a Mem where you bring in all of these different questions into Mem. There are probably a couple of different tools you could use. You could probably upload that PDF to ChatGPT if you have a ChatGPT Plus subscription, and you can just say, convert this into Markdown, and then it will just give you all of the questions in Markdown. But now is the part where it actually starts to get really fun and really interesting. So once you have this annual review template, what you are going to do is you're going to have MemChat convert it. So that way you don't actually have to write it up as the interactive review yourself. But what we can do is we can tell MemChat that we want to create an interactive annual review template. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bidirectionally link the annual review template. And I'm going to go ahead and call the new one, since I already created the first version of the annual review template, the interactive version in my own knowledge base. I'm just going to call it personalized interactive annual review in this case. So that way, what you'll have then is the note that you're going to copy whatever MemChat gives you into this. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and just take this right here. This is going to be our prompt that we type into MemChat. And then we're going to go ahead and copy this into MemChat. As you can see here, MemChat actually gave me the prompt to do that so that it would work pretty well. So what we're going to do is we're just going to tell MemChat, convert this into this. And what it will then do is it will give us a new version of that annual review template. And okay, you can see here that it actually is doing this based on what I said, but I want to say, no, please create the interactive version of the template. And so now what it will do is it will actually give us the entire annual review template based on everything that has happened. So what we're going to do is we are going to take this and we're going to basically put it into that personalized interactive annual review. And obviously, I'm not going to go through this entire thing because that would take forever. But what we can do is we can go through a few of them just so you can see how this will work. So what you're going to say is initiate the annual interactive annual review template. So I'm going to go ahead and go back here to our outline, and I'm going to go ahead and pick personalized annual review template. And I'm going to go ahead and just put this into there. And so what we're going to do is then we're going to basically take this and I'm going to copy it here just so we don't have this huge piece of text when we're inside of the memchat prompt. And I'm just going to say initiate personalized interactive annual review. And what we're then going to do is we're going to just take this and we're going to copy it into memchat as our prompt. And what memchat will then do is it will guide us through all of these different questions. And the cool thing about this is basically what we can say is tell it something significant. And so what I'm going to say here, I'm just going to give it 2 or 3 events. I'm going to say move back to Colorado, spent October in Hawaii with my family for Arn's first birthday, Arn being my nephew, visited Brazil. And the idea here is that rather than just coming down with a list, what memchat will hopefully do is adapt to our responses and ask us in a bit more detail about each one of these things. So we could actually create individual mems for each one of the questions that memchat helps us answer, or that we answer for memchat in this process. So the nice thing about this is that it actually will either move on to the next question. So we could say, why don't you ask me more about this? And we could actually update the template so that it adapts to our responses. And I could actually say, ask me more about, and so what it'll do then is it'll start to actually adapt based on how we communicate with it. So you can see here that now we're getting a bit deeper. So what ends up happening in all of this is that our annual review, instead of being just a list that we end up creating, ends up being this very comprehensive deep dive. So in this case, I'll go ahead and just answer the question about my nephew's first birthday. And I'll just say my favorite moments with Arn were on the beach. He sat on a surfboard and smiled, which made me smile and think about getting to teach him how to surf. So as you can see, instead of this sort of passive approach to just filling out a bunch of text, we start to create this very sort of comprehensive documentation of our most important memories, experiences, and events from the past year. So you can see here now it's becoming quite a bit more interactive. So one of the things that I encourage you to do when you go through this process is memchat will guide you through the process, and it might just say move on to the next question. But it's better often to actually have memchat ask you questions about something. And when you have memchat ask you questions, what you'll notice is that you will start to come up with a lot more insight simply because of the way that we are wired to answer questions. Now, obviously, as I mentioned before, it would take forever to go through this entire questionnaire. But just to recap the steps, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to yearcompass.com and you're going to download this annual review template. The second thing you're going to do is you are going to copy all of the questions from the annual review template into Mem and basically just make this a Mem titled annual review template. And then you'll type in the prompt, please convert my annual review template into a personalized interactive annual review. And then memchat will basically guide you through this process. So I think that this really makes the entire process of doing this annual review a lot richer, a lot more comprehensive, because instead of just sitting and writing things down, you're getting to have a dialogue about these experiences, which just expands the amount of insight that you're able to capture and generate. And as always, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below.